Hi, I'm Raven, and this is the 515 podcast. Tonight, I want to talk about gratitude, mindset, and essentially manifestation without pretending they are magic shortcuts. You hear phrases like gratitude is the attitude, which is kind of my favorite, to be honest, or change your thoughts, change your life. There is a lot of truth in that. And there is also a lot of spiritual bypassing and fake positivity out there. So, in this episode, I want to do 4 things. First, look at what research says about gratitude and mental health. Second, talk about what gratitude is not. And third, connect gratitude to spiritual alchemy and identity. Let's start with the boring, unsexy part, which is kind of sexy to me. The studies and the numbers. Researchers have run dozens of randomized trials on gratitude practices. One large review of 64 clinical trials found that people who did structured gratitude exercises reported higher life satisfaction and better overall mental health and lower anxiety and depression scores compared with control groups. We are not talking about massive overnight change. We are only just talking about shifts in the single-digit percentage range in things like life satisfaction and depression scores, which is meaningful at the population level and often noticeable in real life. In another line of work, people who write gratitude letters or keep gratitude journals, which I do, show more positive emotions, more happiness, and less negative affect over time than people who do neutral writing. On the brain level, gratitude is not just a mood. Practices of gratitude activate regions like the medial prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex, areas that help with decision making, emotional regulation, empathy, and learning. There is also evidence that regular gratitude practice strengthens the prefrontal cortex and shifts stress chemistry over time. Studies report lower cortisol, more activation in regulatory regions, and improvements in emotional resilience with consistent gratitude work. So, when someone says gratitude changes your brain, they really are pointing out to measurable patterns. More activity and even structural changes in key regions, slightly better mood and mental health scores, more pro-social behavior, less worry, and less psychological pain in people who practice gratitude consistently. Now, here's the thing. I want to be clear about what I am not saying. Gratitude is not a cure for trauma. It does not erase abuse, systemic oppression, poverty, grief, or chronic illness. You do not fix a violent partner, a racist policy, or economic hardship by being grateful enough. You do not stay in dangerous or degrading situations in the name of being spiritually evolved or whatever. The data I mentioned describe averages. They say on average, people who practice gratitude feel a bit better, function a bit better over time. They do not say if you feel bad, you are ungrateful. They do not say if you're still hurting, you're doing it wrong. Maybe you should be grateful. You know, I'm sure we've all heard that from a toxic person or two. Anyway, I also want to draw a line between gratitude and forced positivity. Gratitude is the honest recognition of what is good, supportive, or meaningful in your life, even when things are hard. Forced positivity is pretending everything is fine when it's not. Gratitude does not require you to deny pain. You are not bypassing reality, you're acknowledging it. It asks you to hold both, the wound and the resource. And on that note, let's talk about spiritual alchemy. In other episodes, I did mention a few things about alchemy being the process of transforming your lived experience into something that serves you. Like, what are you going to do with your pain? Well, you transmute it. This is one of those ways. Gratitude, in that sense, is one of the core alchemical tools. Not because you are supposed to be thankful for harm or anything, but because you choose what you do with your pain. On a practical level, gratitude shifts what your nervous system pays attention to. Your brain has a negativity bias, which means it notices threat faster than safety or joy. A simple example, if 3 things happen today, one is awful, one is neutral, and one is beautiful, guess what your brain does? It locks on to the awful one first. A consistent gratitude practice trains your brain to also register the neutral and the beautiful, and gives your prefrontal cortex more say in how you respond. That is a part of spiritual alchemy at a nervous system level. Gratitude is a way of aligning with the version of you who is resourced, grounded, and in relationship with something larger than your pain. In psychological language, it is a way to regulate, to broaden your attention, and to keep your sense of self from collapsing into only what hurts. Identity is not fixed. Your brain builds who you are out of repeated patterns of thought, emotion, and behavior. When you intentionally act as if you are already the version of you who has certain habits, boundaries, or standards, you are doing identity work. You're alchemizing. You're producing without even knowing it. Over time, those patterns wire together and your sense of self shifts. Gratitude plugs into this because your future self has a certain default focus. You notice evidence that you are supported. You take in small wins. You hold yourself with respect even when things are not where you want yet. You are acknowledging reality. Gratitude helps your mental health, improves your mood, and strengthens parts of your brain involved in regulation and decision making. If you want to experiment with this, here are a few grounded practices. 1. Each night, you write 1 sentence about the hardest thing today and 1 sentence about something you are grateful for that directly touches that hard thing. Research shows even brief written gratitude practices over a few weeks can lead to lasting changes in brain activity related to gratitude. 2. In the morning, ask, what is 1 tiny decision my future self would make today that current me avoids? Pick something small and specific, like drinking water before coffee, answering 1 scary email, or not texting someone who drains you. 3. Once a day, you sit or stand, whatever, and ask, where in my body feels even 2% less tense? You think that area. You stay with the sensation for a few breaths. This uses your attention and your parasympathetic system to reinforce safety. And I highly recommend doing that a lot on your journey. Listen to your body. I never used to be able to do it, but I don't know. I tapped in, I think, a year ago, but it's still strengthening. So the more you listen to your body and thank your body and really hear it out and talk to it. I know it sounds a little woo, but I'm serious. Really pay attention. You're going to find out differences in how things turn out. 4, once a week, write down 3 pieces of evidence that you are already becoming fully you. Not exactly affirmations, but just facts. Like, for example, I said no to that event. I applied for that job. I stopped apologizing to someone who hurt me. So yeah, when I say gratitude is the attitude, I'm not talking about Pinterest quotes or, live, love, laugh or whatever. I am talking about a set of practices that, according to research, improve mental health, shape your brain over time, and give you more room to choose your response. Gives you more room to choose you. You honor your pain and also choose how to transform it. And I am talking about fully becoming you, where you start living in alignment with the self you are growing into. If this episode resonates with you, notice what part your body reacts to. Do not rush to fix everything. And if you miss a day of gratitude, it's okay. I do that a lot. And at first I felt guilty because, I'm wired like that. But I, just say no. I'm fine. I'm fine because I will take the next moment that I have to embrace everything that life has given me and shown me. And then I write it down. You always have a moment to write it down or to say it when you can. So give yourself grace. Do not rush. Pick one practice you'll try this week and one way you'll act as if you are already the version of you who deserves the life you are building. Well, that's it for me tonight. Thank you for spending this time with me.